Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to the finale of Season 2 of our F124 My Team Career Mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. If you missed out on the video that went live last weekend from Qatar, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. To put it simply, F124 absolutely pooed itself, but it was quite funny. It did lead to a wet race in the middle of the desert in Qatar, so I'm hoping that we're not going to see that again in our final race in the Middle East of our 2024 campaign. Taking a look at your Drivers' Championship, of course, Charles Leclerc locked up the Drivers' Crown a few rounds ago. There are still a few interesting battles, though, going up and down the field. Carlos Sainz, Fernando Alonso, just 5 points between them in their Drivers' Championship battle. Lando Norris, Max Verstappen, George Russell, all right on top of each other as well in the Drivers' table. We could technically beat all of them, but I would need none of them to score and for us to get the win and the fastest lap bonus point. Not convinced that's going to happen. McLaren, Red Bull and Aston Martin also incredibly close together in the Constructors' Championship. But yeah, honestly, for us this weekend, the pressure's kind of off. We can't lose any places in the Drivers' table. We can't lose any places in the Constructors' table. We've had a really good run of form. 3 wins in the last 4 Grand Prix as well. So I'd love to try and get another victory on the board come the end of the year. But yeah, I think it's been a good season. We've had a lot of highs, but a few lows here and there sprinkled in, but that's just the nature of Formula 1. In terms of our Season 3 upgrades, everything's done. We don't have to worry about that as well. We've even got some spare R&D that I'm going to use over the winter break as well to really try and springboard us into next season. Get yourself subscribed. We're trying to hit 5k subs here on the channel at the moment, and yeah, let's do this thing.
Welcome to qualifying. It is time to have some laps at the limit in Abu Dhabi.
Obviously, we stormed to pole position in the Qatar sprint last weekend. Obviously, didn't really bother with real qualifying, obviously, just because we had all those grid penalties. So, well, we got one last opportunity this year to try and get the car right up the order. It certainly has been a race-pace car rather than a qualifying car, but yeah, we have seen a few decent results in recent races as well, and normally it's just down to our ability to carve our way through the order, and, you know, a little bit of F124 luck as well seemingly has gone our way, as we'll try and get a nice slipstream off of Nico Hülkenberg down this back straight. 215 miles an hour, that's not bad going. 216 there by the time we pull out of the toe. Of course, that extra bit of speed means I should have broke just that little bit earlier into the next braking zone, but actually dealing with a fair amount of traffic on this opening lap as well. I can see the Sauber, I believe that's Zhou Guanyu just in front of me. No, it is Valtteri Bottas, sorry, and then there's a few more cars as well, just a little bit further up, as Bottas there does a good job getting out of the way. You never quite know what the AI are going to be like inside this game, but as we round our way under the tunnel, we'll go, just try and keep it planted, keep it steady, right up towards the white line on the exit here. Everybody else into the pit, so we'll have clear running through that final corner and up towards the line. It is going to be a 121.7, only good enough for P15. P15 provisionally, and that's only 6/10 away from pole position, so it looks like everybody in terms of pace has really converged towards the end of the year after a dominant pole lap last time out in that Qatar sprint. Yeah, quite surprised to see just how bunched up everyone is once again, but hopefully I'm going to be able to find a little bit more pace on this lap there. Just try and use a bit more of the battery in various places. You'll be surprised just how much kind of free time you can find around a lap as well. There is already 2/10 up by the end of Sector 1. As long as we can keep finding that, we'll be right there by the end of qualifying, is really trying to hammer the throttle down. Obviously, we'll lose a bit of time down the back straight, but that's okay. Still a 10th up at the moment, and hopefully if we can hit the apex this time round, I think we're still doing over 210 miles an hour into that chicane there. Just avoid the curb on the exit. Really nice traction off of the corner there. Half a second up now, as Charles Leclerc is the first driver to dip into the 1:20. So Ferrari and our new world champion holding that pace hidden away. Verstappen now goes to the top of the board. Let's not forget Verstappen still has not won a race this campaign. Could he become our 9th different winner of the season in this final round there? It's just trying to keep it nice and tidy once again. under the hotel. Lance Stroll now moves up to P1. That was not expected, but everybody's improving here. Norris to the top of the board. There's just one more corner to navigate for ourselves. We are going to find a little bit more there, but it's only good enough for P13. Well, Lance Stroll almost caused the upset of the year there in P2, but it will be Lando Norris that storms to pole position. I'll be honest, I'm a little bit gutted with that. P12 and P13 on the grid for our two cars. Perez and I just 0.02 of a second in it. But yeah, not really where I wanted to be ready for this season finale, but we'll put that behind us and we'll focus on the race.
So here we are, ready to go racing for one final time this year. Another season of victories, controversies and rivalries lies in our wake, and just one challenge remains here in the United Arab Emirates on a circuit that made its spectacular debut back in 2009. Welcome to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The Yas Marina circuit is made up of 3.4 miles of track, featuring 21 corners with 2 very long straights. DRS zones going into the heavy braking zones of both turn 8 and turn 11 offer plenty of potential for overtaking. The circuit comes with its fair share of tricky corners as well, in particular turns 15, 16 and 17, which will certainly test a driver's braking management. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, with Lance Stroll alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Leclerc, Fernando Alonso, Hamilton, Tsunoda, Gasly, Sainz, Russell, Ocon, Perez, Mr. Monaco, Verstappen, Albon, Ricciardo, Oscar Piastri, Iwasa, Hulkenberg, Bottas, Joe, Sargent and Teo Pourchaire. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? And we welcome you to the commentary box overlooking the circuit. I'm Alex Jakes and I'm joined by Anthony Davidson. Well, it's the last race of the season, but there's still plenty to prove out there. How important is getting the right mentality for this season closer?
Yeah, a lot of races to cover, but it's the same for the drivers. It comes at you thick and fast, and you've got to pace yourself as well to get to this point in the season. If it has gone your way, it's a great time to just enjoy it. There's nothing that can change in the championship pecking order, of course. If you've won the championship already, go out and enjoy this race and send yourself off through the winter break. If it's been a bit of a year to forget, you can try and take a bit of solace in this Grand Prix, end on a high and carry that energy into next season.
We just want to finish the season with a decent result, don't we? Hopefully not a mechanical failure like we had last weekend in the sprint. And yeah, kind of like I said, what happens, happens today. It's not the end of the world. Obviously, all eyes now are on Season 3 and hopefully being able to make a challenge for the championship. But lining up then in P12 on the grid after for some Verstappen grid penalties. It's 5 red lights here in Abu Dhabi. And it's going to be lights out and away we go there. Pretty clean, tidy starters already. Verstappen, going to try and have a look for a run down in towards turn 1. Perez there just getting caught behind his former teammate of Esteban Ocon. So we make our way through the first couple of corners. And we will say thank you very much then. And immediately move into the points of this race. Looks like Mercedes have had a good start down in towards the hairpin, courtesy of Lewis Hamilton. Of course, you never quite know when Hamilton is going to take part in his last F1 Grand Prix. But if he can win this one, maybe then he call it a day, he call it a season, he call it a career here in Formula 1. Still a little bit gutted that Mercedes' pace seems to have absolutely fallen apart as the season went on. You know, a championship battle between him and Leclerc would have been really, really interesting, as Ferrari, of course, walked away with both World Championships. However, they haven't really looked like a particularly dominant force. They might still get a 1-2 in the Constructors' in the Drivers' Championship, with Alonso obviously the only man that can stop Carlos Sainz. We just made a move on the Spaniards out through the chicane there, and you can already see Charles Leclerc going side by side with Pierre Gasly. Both Alpine and VCarb really have kicked on towards the end of the campaign there, as still Pierre Gasly not wanting to give up on this one. We will try and sneak down the inside of George Russell. It'll be the outside wall for the next corner, as Russell not wanting to back out of this one. This is great wheel-to-wheel racing. Abu Dhabi finally putting on a show on just lap 1, and we've made up 4 places. Pierre Gasly, big lock up there, and now he's going to go wheel-to-wheel with his former teammate in Yuki Tsunoda. We were just kind of trying to stay out of trouble as best as we could, as now both Yuki and I are going to get the run on the Frenchman 3 wide as we make our way down the back straight there. And I mean, Pierre Gasly's got nothing in that moment. Leclerc will say thank you very much and we'll try and bolt free, but we've already gained 6 places and we're barely at the end of lap 2. As starts go, this has got to be one of the better ones I've ever had. Oh, here comes Tsunoda again then, back down our inside as we make our way down into the chicane once more. I tell you what, VCarb, they've had so many races where they've deserved a podium late on in this campaign. Really just hasn't worked out for them, but it does give them a strong platform to build on, ready for next year. I wonder obviously how much Red Bull have just kind of focused on next season, accepted that this campaign was always going to be a write-off. But yeah, VCarb though, they have been looking, I mean, often in the latter stages of this season, they've looked quicker than Red Bull, which is something we haven't really seen. Well, the last time they were this close in performance, I would say, was probably 2015. I tell you what, after all the craziness in the opening couple of laps, Abu Dhabi has very much turned back into what we kind of expect from Abu Dhabi in the F1 series, of course. It's, you know, absolutely dominated by these 2 DRS zones. It is a better track than the old version, but ultimately at the moment, Tsunoda's pace looks very, very good in that V-carb. We would not take time out of Charles Leclerc if I got around him. I think just kind of your top 6 cars just a little bit too fast for us early on in this GP. Maybe when we make the switch to hards, we're going to have a little bit more pace here, but I'm kind of just sat behind him at the moment, kind of letting him just drag me along, because we don't seem to be getting under any pressure from Gasly or Russell behind. I think we could probably make a strong argument now as to why it should be Qatar that hosts the season finale rather than Abu Dhabi. Not sure about that defence from Tsunoda, as we just nudged the inside wall there down the back straight. I didn't actually realise how quickly that wall kind of tucked in, but I kind of want something interesting to happen inside the early laps here. Can't remember if it was last season of this series or one of the other ones we've done in F1 24, but we ended up in a Grand Prix where genuinely after lap 2, nothing happened. We just cruised around in our position for the entire rest of the afternoon. At least today I think we're going to have a bit of a fight from Yuki behind, but let's wait and see. Well, it really does look like our top 5 then have bunched up together in this Grand Prix at the moment. They're still about 3 seconds up the road, but I'm tempted to try and gamble an early pit stop and see if we can undercut our way up to that little gaggle. I mean, it's probably the only way we're going to have a chance to fight for the win here. Tsunoda hasn't been able to apply as much pressure to me as I originally thought he would. He really just kind of has stayed, you know, obviously within that DRS range, but not really able to attack us anywhere near as much as I was expecting there, as he gets close down the end of that straight, but not close enough. 18 laps on a set of hards is a long way, but not too bad. It's really just the right-hand side tyres here that take an absolute beating as Tsunoda, that was a little bit a day late and a dollar short there to try and look for that move, but I think we're going to go for it. Well, you know, we haven't got anything to lose today. May as well try, throw caution to the wind here and opt to do something a little bit different. Maybe some of those front runners will get slowed down in the pits as we dive in, turn those tyres into 50 pence pieces on the way into the pit lane here. But yeah, team right down the far end, they got plenty of time to get themselves organised and lined up outside, but a hard set of tyres then going onto the wagon for the rest of the afternoon.
That was a fantastic stop, faster than we were expecting. Up to speed now, let's get some heat into those tyres.
As we try and navigate our way under the tunnel, never gets any easier that. But annoyingly, yeah, we are going to come out a little bit behind some of the back market cars. Théo Pourchaire in his Haas will be first on our hit list, but hopefully they'll give you some DRS. Well, for Sauber, it's never really a surprise after that early game patch that they are seemingly always way off the pace of all the other teams there. But it's a bit of a shame to see Haas and Williams kind of so disconnected from most of your other runners. Alex Albon has kind of tried with that Williams organisation to do as well as he can.
It's time to utilise some of this energy. Come on.
There is just something about the Haas Formula 1 team that just does not allow rookies to really gel with it inside this sport. There is Logan Sargent trying to go defensive on me. I mean, look how much later we are on the brakes than the American there, and around the outside we'll go And up then into P20 we shall move. Annoyingly, yeah, we're not quite going to move our way to the front of this group on this lap there. So we're going to have to try and see if we can do anything in towards these final sectors. I mean, again, look how late we're able to go on the brakes there. Try and switch Bottas off the exit of the corner there. Really try and give ourselves the run in towards these final few corners. And Bottas again. Boy, just, yeah, that was good, hard but fair racing as down the inside of Zhou Guanyu. That was a bit more aggressive, but, you know, we've got to get on with it. We've obviously trying to work the undercut in this race as Hulkenberg dives into the pit lane at the end of that lap, and we're going to see more and more cars peeling into the pits. So hopefully this should give us a good idea of where we're going to come out. There is Alonso. So he was one of the cars I thought we'd be battling there. There is Charles Leclerc. So this has worked out beautifully for us. We're right back tucked up then with this top group. Lance Stroll has been given one extra lap to try and go for it. So he will be leading this race, but we are now inside the range of the top guys. And again now, I just got to try and settle in and save the tyres. Oh no, we've had a spinner. We've had a spinner. I think that might be a red flag. No, the Alpine seems to be getting on with it again, so I think that might have been Pierre Gasly there just going for a spin down at the hairpin. But luckily no one gets caught up behind him, so we'll get to carry on racing as we look at this almost 3 wide. For what is effectively the net leader this Grand Prix, Leclerc, Hamilton, still wheel to wheel. I'd love to see Hamilton go to Ferrari next campaign and watch those two properly battle for a world championship in equal machinery here. But Fernando Alonso, as he makes his way through these final couple of turns as well, he's just waiting in the wings. But what this has done is allowed Lando Norris a bit of a breakaway. Don't know if he probably has got that full 1 second buffer now. Through the final corners we'll go. We will move up then into P5, I think. Yeah, there is Lance Stroll. So 5th place will go then. So we've kind of replaced Stroll in this top little gaggle of cars. But again, we've just kind of got to sit here and see what happens. Oh, here we go. Hamilton again trying to look for a run on Charles Leclerc there. But here goes Alonso now, trying to have a look around the outside of the Brit. Of course, Alonso wants to try and lock down that P2 in the championship, as we're going to try and make it 3 wide on the exit of the corner there. Have we got the ponies to stay alongside these two? Yes, we have. Alonso on the outside will be forced to back out just a little bit there. Hamilton, I think, was very consciously aware of myself going down the inside. You can just see that's given both Leclerc and Norris now an opportunity to break free at the front of the order, but we have been very, very decisive with our overtakes today. It's been a good race up to this point, but I really don't know what to do at this moment then. Doesn't look like Leclerc has got the pace to close in on Lando Norris. That gap has actually just gone up by a couple of tenths over the last few laps there. So Norris kind of looks to be in control of this race as we get towards the end of it. Not the first time we've seen him win in Abu Dhabi on F1 24. Still yet to see him fight for a world championship, just like he has been in real life there. But again, I'm not convinced if I get around Leclerc, I'm going to have any more pace to try and attack the McLaren man towards the end. So our fight might now be for P2, and maybe Leclerc, Hamilton and Alonso's battling has really cost us all. Well, I'm sure Charles Leclerc would have loved to have ended this season with a win in the finale, of course. It's been such a good campaign from Charlie. Not particularly dominant by any stretch, but it's just kind of won a lot of races, been in the right place a lot of the right times. You know, a few little bits of luck have gone his way as well. But ultimately, yeah, he and Ferrari have kind of had the anti-Ferrari season. I think my only shot, though, if either of us want to try and fight with Lando towards the end of this, is try and get past him with a full charge of battery down this first straight, and then basically try and go for a qualifying lap around the rest of the lap there, using as much battery as we possibly can pretty much everywhere. So I'm just trying to make sure that we're close enough when we've got basically 100% charge in the pack. But yeah, we need to go nearly a second quicker than Lando, and that would be quite difficult. Let's try and see then if we can test this theory on lap 23. Only 6 laps to go of this race. We need to try and make sure that we meet the apex through there as we get a nice throttle down on the exit of the corner. Now we just got to try and use some of the battery to work our way around Charles there. Should be able to comfortably get by him by the time we get into the braking zone. But again, we just have not got the performance on these tyres anymore. Nice and easy on the throttle on the exit. And hopefully we're still going to take some time at Orlando through the second half of this lap day. See, it's not much, as Leclerc already closing back in on me. But if we can just keep trying to slingshot each other, that surely is going to be the only way we can get to Lando by the end of this. And you can see now we've pretty much gone through all of our battery charge there. Leclerc, though, is within 2 seconds of Lando, so it has brought us both slightly closer to the McLaren man. What we now basically need is for Leclerc to try and go for a move on me again and just get himself inside that range. Oh, we've got yellows. I think that might be a Yuma or Wasser. So our former teammate that might be out of the Grand Prix. It's either him or Daniel Ricciardo, I believe, that is going to be dropping to the wayside here. It is Danny Rick, and a disappointing end to the campaign for the Australian. Again, has enjoyed that success of the V-Carb's performance in these latter stages, but Ricciardo becomes our first casualty of the night with just 4 laps to go. Meanwhile, I'm more interested on the gap at the top because we are right on the 1 second mark now with Lando Norris. We've just got to try and get in the DRS by the time we get down in towards turn 4. As we just try and keep the car between the curbing there through the first couple of turns. It is so close. Come on, just drain that battery off of the top of the hill there. We're going to try and use it to slingshots, and I think we've just about done it. We'll wait for confirmation then. And there we go. We are in the DRS of Lando Norris. Surely we should get a bit of free time now over the next couple of laps. But Norris, he's enjoyed so much clear air towards the end of this race. Surely it's not going to go wrong for him right at the end. Oh no, here comes Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc now gets a big run on us as we make our way down into chicane. They're not really worth trying to fight with him too aggressively right now. But Leclerc then moves himself straight back up into P2 of this Grand Prix. Is he going to be able to attack Lando Norris now in towards these last couple of laps? I'm just going to try and let him get on with it, do his thing. We saw how much time he and Hamilton cost each other earlier on in the race. I don't want to do the same. Well, as I mentioned earlier on, Charles Leclerc, I'm sure he'd love to cap off his winning campaign this year with another dub. But is he going to be able to get close enough to Lando Norris here in the last couple of laps? He's gaining, but it looks like he doesn't have much battery left. Have we all just managed our charge late on in the day? Norris for McLaren still leading this one as we get the power down out onto the second of the back straights there. You can see that gap between Leclerc and the McLaren still up over half a second here. So as we dive into Sector 3 for the penultimate time, we've got barely 1 lap left to go of what has been a crazy campaign this season. Mercedes, they looked like they were going to be the dominant force early on in the year. Hamilton led the World Championship to about the halfway stage, and then Ferrari, they've just seemingly got their act together when Mercedes faltered, and Charles Leclerc relentless in his ability to score podiums and just take points out of Hamilton week in and week out. We've got a Red Bull, I think, breaking down on this as we start this last lap. I believe that might be a Wasser out of the Grand Prix there, so disappointment for both of the other Honda-powered teams here. They are both going to see one car not make it to the checkered flag in what has been a very difficult campaign for Ayumu, thrusted into a top team on the decline there. But Charles Leclerc, will he now be able to get a run on Lando Norris as we make our way out onto the back straight there? He's going to have a look to the outside of the McLaren man. They're right all over the curbing. Shades of his battle with Alex Albon in FIA Formula 2. Lando Norris, I'm not convinced he's got anything left on this last lap of the Grand Prix there. And as we get the power down, Lando's a sitting duck. What on earth has happened to that McLaren then, as we're going to try and go in pursuit of Charles Leclerc in towards the final few corners here in Abu Dhabi? It's going to be very difficult to try and do anything through these last few turns, especially with yellow flags out. But we've got the run to the inside of Charles Leclerc there. We'll try and give him the room on the exit of the corner. In fact, we don't get the power down. Lando Norris is going to try and barge us out on the exit of the corner there. We get a warning for exceeding track limits. Wasn't a lot we could really do in that scenario, but through the final corner, it all got dramatic at the end. Charles Leclerc, though, wins the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
Well, there it is. is, mate. The checkered flag, and the checkered flag on the season as well. And what a season it's been. We've had our ups and downs, but you know what? I've really enjoyed working with you, and I hope we can do it again. Nice one, mate. See you back at the pits.
What a drive! What a driver! Charles Leclerc takes the victory.
They've won the championship, and now they sign off in style as winning the last race of the season as well. Brilliant stuff by this driver today, and you carry that momentum through to next year as well, of course. So it's for all now to try and stop what they've created.
Here come our winners now. A thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again.
Well, there we are then. Charles Leclerc is your Formula 1 world champion there. Ferrari back on top as well. We celebrated it a couple of races ago, but once again, nice to remind you all of the success that Ferrari team has seen all the year. But what a last lap battle that turned into there. Lando Norris just did not quite save enough battery right at the very end. It was a sitting duck on that last lap there. Did take fastest lap though to get 16 points added to his campaign there. 6 cars covered by a second and a half come the checkered flag. It really was a fantastic duel there. Verstappen, I'd argue he was probably the quickest race pace driver all weekend and probably deserved the victory. But yeah, this season has just not been the campaign for the Dutchman there. To walk away with only a P7 finish, it must be pretty disappointing there. Tsunoda beats out Sainz and Russell inside your top 10. Sergio Perez lacked pace all afternoon and ended up down in P13 there, so a disappointing end for our teammate there, with just Iwasa and Ricciardo who failed to see the checkered flag. In terms then of our Drivers' Championship, Charles Leclerc, he does get to exactly 400 points by the end of the campaign as well, so a very good job done by him. Alonso hangs on ahead of Carlos Sainz to finish up in runners-up spot by the end of the year there. Hamilton led this championship for so long in the early stages, but to walk away with only P4, I'm sure, is absolutely gutting there. Norris beats out Verstappen. We end up just 3 points back behind George Russell, so had we got the move done on Charles Leclerc, we could have finished the season in 7th. Oscar Piastri in 9th, and Sergio Perez in 10th there. And Lance Stroll quietly actually did fairly well in the last couple of races there, down in P11. Tsunoda beats Iwasa in the battle of the Japanese drivers. Albon ahead of Esteban Ocon and Daniel Ricciardo there, with Gasly and Hulkenberg with points on the board. Just leaving Bottas, Sargent, Pourchaire and Zhou Guanyu, the only drivers who failed to score this season. Constructors-wise, Ferrari 200 points clear of Mercedes. McLaren, an important result in the final race there to beat out Aston Martin and Red Bull. We come through for P6 in the end, so once again, best of the rest, but a lot closer to those bigger teams by the end of this campaign than we were in Season 1. Like I've said, I think Season 3, we're going to be hopefully able to really challenge for the world title. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll be back very soon with more Formula 1 content.